I visited Austria. To give you guys some context, I'm on a huge tour with my family right now, which consists of traveling to numerous countries, and I have a mission to document my experience. And this is what happened. We started day one by traveling to Innsbruck, where we would meet up with our tour guide. Our tour guide would walk us through the area and show us some unique architecture. We would eventually walk into this church where we would see this painting. The painting was pretty cool, I guess. After we finished looking at the church, we left and headed downtown. The area was packed with people looking to shop. All the buildings in the area were all connected. And my family and I noticed this shop that we thought was very interesting. Swarovski. This was supposedly one of Austria's most famous stores, but in my humble opinion, I don't understand the hype. All that was in the store was stuff with fake gems on it. But to be fair, I'm no woman. So yeah, maybe it's cooler. I don't know. Anyways, after exploring the store, we sat down and waited to leave. Once everyone was ready, we walked out and said goodbye to Innsbruck. Shortly after, we drove to where we would eat dinner. The dinner was it was really nothing crazy. Once dinner was over though, we headed to the bus where we would arrive at the hotel. After a long day, we settled down and headed to bed. We started day 2 by waking up in a different country. Yeah, for some context, we actually left in Munich after the first day of Austria for 2 days. If you want to see what I did in those 2 days, go watch the Germany video. But now we're back in Austria, once again. We started day 2 in Austria by driving to Salzburg. Once we arrived, we met up with our tour guide who would guide us through the city. Quick note, apparently the Sound of Music scene where the chick and the weird male guy were dancing in the rain was filmed in this very garden. So that's pretty cool. The tour guide guided us up this bridge to show us this really cool place. Mozart's birthplace. You heard that right. I am standing where baby Mozart stood many years ago. But I didn't have much interest, so we ended up walking through the city to uncover the absolutely amazing pickles. This was clearly way more interesting than baby Mozart. Everyone was taking pictures with these pickles. Quite the spectacle. Okay, moving on. We walked around some more looking at the amazing architecture and landscape. We eventually stumbled upon the very graveyard that The Sound of Music replicated when the movie was made. It was pretty interesting, but my tour guide happened to point this grave out. Harry J. Collins was a United States Army officer who commanded the 42nd Infantry Division, which played a crucial role in the liberation of Dachau, which we visited in the Germany vlog. So yeah, pretty cool. We eventually left though and walked around some more and also entered a church. The church was pretty neat and had some cool art displayed throughout the building. Not to mention it had some musical thingies too. I ended up getting hungry and left to this burger place nearby. The food was so good I forgot to film my burger. So yeah, 10 out of 10. We ended up navigating through the city to find the bus. After some searching we found it and headed to the hotel. I was completely exhausted and headed to bed. We started day 3 at a different hotel again. We went to Germany yesterday and visited the Eagle's Nest and whatever. And now we are back in Austria. We ate some dry cake thingy for breakfast and left to the bus. We drove down to this place called Melk where we'd stay for a few hours exploring. But first, we have to eat. Not to bore you or anything, but I got this pork thing again, and that basically concluded my lunch. Once everyone was done, we headed to the Abbey. The Abbey was huge and rested on a hill outlooking all of Austria. The architecture was amazing and there was so much to explore. Unfortunately for you guys, I couldn't film inside the building, so yeah, maybe go visit. I don't know, sorry. Okay, moving on. We eventually left the area to this garden place. The gardens were very cool to look at, but I had one mission. I was determined to enter that building. I needed to see inside. There was nothing. Had a cool view though, you know? Anyways, we headed back to the bus and went to the next big stop, which would be Schlosslimburn Palace. But unexpectedly, there was a big storm. It was raining, but I was determined to look at the palace, and eventually, I arrived. Guys, look! A palace! Whoa! That is so cool! Man, what's this place again? I literally couldn't see it, so I basically just left. After a long drive to the hotel, we arrived. I was super hungry, so once we all got settled down, we headed downstairs to this underground mall. After searching for a little bit, we stumbled upon a burger place. Not gonna lie, I was tired of eating German food, and all I wanted was a change. After eating my burger super quick, I headed to my room and went to bed. I started day 4 with some breakfast, which was disgusting, so I quickly headed to the bus and drove through Vienna. Vienna was super cool and the architecture was super unique, but nothing compares to where we would go next. We headed off the bus and walked to this place, the I can't pronounce it. But yeah, this guy makes some weird art for sure. We also saw these guys too, which were pretty strange as well. We walked back to the bus and headed to the next big location, Schloss Belvedere. We headed up to the palace, which was pretty cool to look at. There was an art museum inside which we explored around. Some of the art was pretty cool and neat, but others were pretty ugly. Every art piece had some secret meaning behind the painting, but to be honest, I think these artists use cryptic meanings to make up for their ugly art. But yeah, that's my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. Not all the art was bad, I will say, but yeah, not really my thing. Shortly later, we left the palace and drove to our next big location, which would be the center of Vienna. Once we got dropped off, I was super hungry. We quickly searched around till we found the perfect thing to eat. Wieners. I was craving some, and I quickly grabbed one. Honestly, this was some of the best wieners I've ever had. 10 out of 10. After eating, we walked around Vienna looking at the variety of stores and buildings around us. When we were walking, we happened to see this huge church. We entered the church just to be hit with smoke. The church was super detailed and definitely one of the most unique I've ever seen on the trip. Once we left the area, I wanted some ice cream. So we got ice cream. I got mango, which was honestly eh. After eating the ice cream, we headed to the bus and drove back to the hotel. We chilled at the hotel for a little, but after chilling out for an hour, we headed right back onto the bus and went to some cool amusement park. We walked around till we arrived at the Ferris wheel. Our group hopped on and slowly ascended to the top where we would see all of Vienna. While waiting to get there, I did some pull-ups. The view was amazing. You could see everything, and it was super cool. After waiting a year to head back down, we hopped off and went to the bus. We would drive to where we would go eat. We entered and ordered some of the finest wine in all of Austria. Shortly after, we got our food and started feasting. There were some guys playing some music as well. Let's just say, it got super hype.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci s'è tuato giro d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, ma ci s'è tuato giro d'amor.
It was awesome and quite the experience. After all of this, we headed to the bus and drove to the hotel, and we headed for bed. We started day 5 by traveling to Slovakia. If you want to see what we did there, stay tuned, because that video will be out very soon. But after traveling to Slovakia for the day, we were starving and headed to the last dinner that we would have as a group. Everyone on the tour were amazing people, and made this Europe trip so much better. We were served some chicken type stuff, which wasn't horrible. The whole environment of the restaurant was very cool to see as well. With that, everyone said their thanks, and we headed back to the hotel for one final bus drive. We tipped the bus driver greatly and said goodbye to everyone at the tour. It was a wild ride the past few days, and I'm glad we experienced it. This concludes my trip to Austria. The whole experience was amazing and really made me appreciate life so much more. If you at all enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and be notified when I upload the next video in Slovakia, so stay tuned. Also, if you're interested in seeing the behind the scenes, make sure to follow my Instagram. It is much appreciated. Thank you for watching.